This is Beer Guys Radio. Welcome. We're live here, Facebook, YouTube, all kinds of places. I want that wrestling announcer guy, and I forget his name, the Let's Get Ready to Rumble guy.
Oh, yeah.
That's who, Jan, I think that's who we need to bring us in when we get this
That'd be
started.
awesome.
So,
or Ric Flair. It's the Beer Guys. Woo!
Yes, absolutely. We need that John Cena trumpet music. Something along those lines.
Great.
But
that'd be fantastic.
Even better than all of those things is that we have Jan Chodkowski from our Mutual Friend Brewery with us today. Jan, how are you doing?
Great, guys. Thanks for having me.
Good. Awesome, man. We are excited to chat with you. But with that said, we're going to make this simple. We're going to get into our radio segment here. If you are joining the live stream, you have comments, questions, criticisms, or you just want to talk gloriously about Brian's beard, leave the comment. We'll be back in a few minutes to chat with you.
Open up a tab, grab a seat, and pour a pint. It's time for the Beer Guys Radio Show.
You want free beer? Go to the brewery.
Dedicated to the art, science, and enjoyment of craft beer.
Yo, what's wrong with the beer we got?
Now, here are your hosts, Tim Dennis and Brian Hewitt.
Welcome to the Beer Guys Radio Show. We're broadcasting from the Beer Guys Radio Studios, and this week, we're talking with our Mutual Friend Brewing Company. I'm Tim Dennis, and with me, as always, is my good friend and your friend, Brian Hewitt.
A mutual friend, you might say.
A mutual friend.
Yeah,
yes, absolutely.
So joining us today, we have Jan
Jan, we went over this before the show.
And I gave him crap about it.
You did.
Chodkowski.
You did.
Chodkowski.
Yeah,
I tripped all over that.
Gosh.
He's the head brewer for our Mutual Friend Brewing. I'm terrible. I admit it.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about fun stuff like GABF, Saisons, mixed fermentation, smoked beers, and probably, if I have my way, aged hops. Jan, thanks for joining us, and I'm sorry about the intro.
Oh, all good. Stoked to be here, guys. Yeah, my
Good stuff.
last name isn't real radio friendly, maybe.
I do want to point out, as Brian mentioned briefly, that he did give me grief before the show
he did.
about making sure to verify the pronunciation.
I had no other problems with it prior to just that intro.
That's what you get, Brian. You ever hear of karma?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah,
it was like
gosh.
somebody threw a speed bump in my brain right when I was reading his name.
It
So
happens.
it was fantastic.
It happens. Jan, once again, thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it. You're in beautiful Denver, Colorado, correct?
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Yeah, you guys got a little
awesome
beer fest
town.
coming up.
Yeah, we got a
beer
little one
fest.
coming up. Little beer fest coming up in a couple of weeks. Yeah.
Yeah,
The old
man.
Great American Beer Fest is finally back, and yeah, we're stoked to have it back again.
How is this the first year in person since the Great Plague?
Since the pandemic. Yeah. Since
Yeah.
2019. So it's been a minute.
Okay,
2 years,
man.
right?
Okay, yeah, absolutely. Something that made me say, I'd only been there once, Jan, but I knew the significance of it when Falling Rock, with them closing. That was. Do you have another beer bar that's of that caliber, that scoped? Was there anything to fill that void?
We've got a bar down the street from us called Finn's Manor. It definitely nothing in that scope, but Finn's Manor down the street from us does insane tappings that whole week. During the rest of the year, they're tapping beers from out of state all the time. They just had a keg of Fafoon on for this week for no good reason,
Just because.
So it's about 20 taps, but nothing compared to Falling Rock, whatever they had, 80 or 100 taps. There's nothing close. There's a few other good ones, Hops and Pie, Goodzer, First Draft, but there's nothing like Falling Rock anymore, which is
Nothing
a shame.
like
Because
it. Yeah.
I've been going there since I was 21.
I think I want to say I saw a news article about when they were closing. Did they have a huge seller list as well? I think they were selling off a lot of aged bottles.
Yeah. And I was out of town for the last weekend. They were going and they were getting rid of a lot of the Brewiana stuff and the signs, which I was looking at, for 16 years and dreaming about having something like that someday. And I missed all of it. But but they're doing a little pop-up at a brewery that just opened up kind of near us called Mobcraft. So they're going to do some tappings kind of under the Falling Rock name for GABF. So that could be cool.
That's cool. Yeah, I like seeing that stuff, stay alive. We've got a handful of really good beer bars here in Atlanta, with our two most famous being Brick Store Pub and the Porter Beer Bar. And the Porter is under new ownership now. and I think they're still closed. They've been remodeling, revamping.
Somebody
but-
was asking about that. That might have been you. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't realize that they had been closed this entire time, but
No, shoot.
I hadn't tried to swing by either. That's concerning a little bit that they've been
Yeah.
closed as long as they have, but I guess
they're
if
under good ownership though. I mean, there's a
Yeah.
strong pedigree there in, the food service and beer. So I'm excited to get them back open. But, Jan, as I'm sure a place like Brick Store, I'm going to show favorites here. Brick Store is my favorite. I love the Porter. I love Argosy. I love several, but Brick Store is my jam. And I just always feel great there. I know the owners, I know the bar managers, all the servers know their beer, Brian.
they do.
And everybody just seems happy to be there, whether they're working or drinking, or we've met celebrities there. A couple of stars of Stranger Things we ran into there before.
They
so
were just randomly.
it's just everything. They've got a beautiful cellar there. And
Oh, wow.
I mean, I know a guy that once dropped and broke a glass in their cellar.
Yeah,
there. So,
I've heard about this guy.
Yeah.
I heard he's a great guy.
it's Brian. That's Brian. So
These are
But-
lies.
back to GABF, Jan. For those that don't know, we get a lot of folks that listen to our show that may be newer to craft beer. Can you give us an overview? What in the world is Great American Beer Festival, GABF, all about?
Yeah, so it's about bringing breweries from all over the United States to pour beer, but also it's pretty much the largest beer competition in America as well, and pretty prestigious competition. And so you enter beers to be judged, but you also pour beers at the festival as well. And we've been pouring since we've been open. So this will be, I think, our 9th year pouring at the festival as well. But there's there's 4 sessions: Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday day is for the AHA members, and then Saturday night as well. So it's like just nonstop for 4 days or
It's
3
crazy.
days. Yeah, beer. Yeah,
Man, when
Yeah,
I
and
went
it's
out there,
It's
I
massive.
wrote, and not even from the alcohol, Jan, just pure exhaustion. I ran myself into the ground going there because there's just so much to do, because you could go to Denver during GABF and not go to the festival at all and still have the best beer week of your life.
Oh,
just going to
absolutely.
stuff around.
Yeah, it's
Denver.
incredible.
So,
There's so much going on the whole time.
Well, it's
Yeah,
it's kind of a trade show, right? So if you really do the show, you're hoofing it like miles on a trade show
it's
and
big. Yeah,
drinking
it's serious
at the
stuff.
same time.
Yeah.
Oh, it's huge. Yeah, your feet
Yeah.
hurt by the end of it. No doubt. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a good
crazy
time
the
though.
amount you walk. Yeah, but I love it. I feel like I might be in like the minority of a brewer that actually still enjoys it. Most brewers are like, oh, big huge beer festival, but I've been going since I was 22. So and
Yeah.
I'm 37 now, so I can't stop anymore. I still love it. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. That is good stuff.
You got momentum there. You can't stop. You've got a streak. You've got to keep it
No,
alive.
I got to keep it going. Yeah.
right.
Can't stop,
sure.
won't stop.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
For sure.
Tim, I think it's time for us to get into beers of the week.
Well, Brian, as you know, just how the way we do things here, we do have a fantastic list of beers to get into. Right now, we're drinking one from a local brewery that we mentioned, Halfway Crooks Farina. They just call it a top fermenting lager, but
Yeah.
it's just it's a crispy boy.
It
Brian,
is.
as they
Very
say.
crispy.
Very nice. One we intended to drink last week on the show, but didn't get to. A collaboration from El Sharpton and New Belgium Piano Keys, which is a great one. And Jan, heads up for you. Keep an eye out for Piano Keys. They have a special version that they're going to tap for GABF at
I
one of
will for
those
sure.
there. So
That's right. He's doing an event there.
Yep.
Yeah.
El Sharpton will be out there doing an event with New Belgium for a Piano Keys launch. We also have, courtesy of No Mike Nate, Finch Beer Company, Taco Gato, which, Brian, that's Spanish for taco cat.
Okay.
FYI.
All right.
And that is a Goza. And from Yazoo's Embrace the Funk, we have Saison de Bois,
Ooh, fancy.
which is Spanish for Saison of the Boys.
Of the
And
boys.
so, yeah. So, and just really have a good time sipping some brews. Brian, do you have some news for us this week?
I do. I have a story or two. Some interesting stats from Forbes. They found that most age groups prefer beer styles other than IPA. Of course, the sales data still indicates that IPAs are king, but both Gen X and baby boomers prefer lagers, and Gen Z prefers ale, but not specifically IPA. So it's interesting that they would just went ale instead of any particular category.
That's because I don't know them. What do you? I like ales.
I like ale.
I
Probably.
ales. Yeah.
Oh, I recognize ale.
I don't like dark
ale.
beers.
Of the age groups surveyed, only millennials were said to prefer IPAs to every other style. On the other hand, if you ignored the age groups, women and beer drinkers in households earning more than $100,000 a year do prefer IPAs, and lagers are heavily favored by those earning less than $25K a year. Other findings include that citrus is generally the most preferred flavor in a beer, with berry flavors coming in second. So there you go.
This may be the most ridiculous survey.
Oh, probably.
I
It's
mean,
done
they're
by
talking-
Forbes.
Yes,
well,
men and women that live within 2 miles of so-and-so with the householding. What about if they go up to the people who make buku money? Because I bet you go back to the lager game.
Exactly.
Then.
So, I've heard it said that very, very rich people and very, very poor people are very similar in their
Very
actual
similar in what they
lifestyles.
like.
There's a lot of things that it's comparable. They just do it in nicer places.
Both eating fish eggs, one a little fresher than the other.
Exactly.
Like that.
Exactly. So, we got that story we teased last week. The Philadelphia brewery had their hop farm destroyed by a city crew,
Yes.
and not because they were growing hops illegally or on property they weren't allowed to use. They were planted in a garden in partnership with a local community development corporation with clear signage and a fence around the vines. Apparently, an incredibly dense city crew determined the garden was a vacant lot and in violation of being overgrown. Of course, that means cash grab. I mean, a fine from the city, and the hops were going to be harvested soon for an annual beer release. So the brewery is out tens of thousands of dollars as a result. If there's any good news in the story, it's that the city dropped the fine, but unfortunately, nobody has been fired for great negligence and incompetence.
That's terrible. It is a sad story. And with that, we need to take a moment of mourning. You're listening to the Beer Guys Radio Show, and we will be right back with our mutual friend.
Usually I'm in favor of leaving mistakes in the show if they're amusing. I really would like to edit the intro to this show.
No, it's amusing to me.
I know you're going to love
You-
it. Yeah, I sound like a freaking idiot.
You stumble on a lot of the intros, like you don't the rest of the show, but those intros give you hell.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not
You
sure.
got to get your brain going. It's still warming
well,
up.
yeah, I got to
Jan,
get
do you see what I have to deal with here? Do you see this every week with this guy?
beer
Every
is
week.
my mental lubrication. I have not had nearly enough to just be rolling. So.
Absolutely madness. Nate, throw our boy on the screen.
Cheers, from
Stephen
Kettle Rock.
Pete, cheers from Kettle Rock Brewing. Stephen, as always, great to see you, man. Thanks for hanging out with us every week. We appreciate it.
In keeping with weekly
And
tradition.
keeping with tradition. I love traditions, man. I love it.
Traditions are nice.
Jan, like we were talking about going to your favorite bar there and knowing the bartender and feeling comfortable. It's nice to have beer traditions there. And that's, I moved around a good bit when I was younger. I say younger, like I've been in Atlanta a little, like 22 years now, but like the first 22 years of my life or whatever, the first half of my life, I moved around every 5, 6, 7 years or so. So finally getting to where I'm thinking about, I was like, man, I've been going to the oldest brew pub in the state of Georgia. I visited them the year they were open and then celebrated with the brewer for their 20th anniversary,
Oh, that's awesome.
Those kind of things kind of hit you. Like I've been coming here for 20 years now.
That's
crazy, man. Crazy.
That's rad.
You got something for me, Nate? I see a look like you got something for me.
I think he's got an update. I think that the fine was issued before they whacked the weeds. So so they got the fine dismissed, but then the crew came in and whacked the weeds later. And I didn't mention
I read about that story. Bummer.
Crazy, huh? Yeah.
Stan Hieronymus, a buddy of ours who's been on the show a few times, mentioned in his write-up about it that people locally had volunteered to give their own grown hops to the brewery so they could still make this beer, because this beer is made specifically with those hops once a year. So
it's funny,
and it's a fundraising beer too, right?
I think it might be
fundraising beer or something too. So
it's terrible on so many levels.
Outrageous. That's what I was thinking. Is that you needed like a GoFundMe where you didn't give money, you gave fresh hops.
Go hop me.
Yeah, go hop me, exactly, and they get them. Overnight them in there to them, so they get the freshies there. Do you guys grow hops, Jan? You got any freshies?
No, we don't. There is hops grown in Colorado that we do use, but we weren't able to get to a fresh hop this year.
Gotcha.
Yeah. We actually do incorporate quite a bit of Colorado grown hops into our beer, though, whenever we can.
Okay, cool.
And there's a pelletizer here as well, so it works out. Yeah.
All right. Awesome, man. That's now, Brian, you're gonna have to help me. Let's see if we can make up for your. Let's see if your brain works to make up for this. Who is the aviation themed brewer we talked to in Denver? Flight Co?
Flight Co, yeah.
Do you know Flight Co, Jan?
I don't know them. I know of it, but I don't know them.
Yeah. Okay, because they were talking about
a historic air terminal. Yeah.
But they were talking about
that's near my house. Their new place actually.
Okay.
Is like
Yeah.
in an old air traffic control tower building.
exactly.
Yeah.
They were talking about one time they like took a plane and flew. Was it up to like Portland or somewhere? I
don't
forget
remember
where it
where.
was, Jan. But they flew out, picked up hops, flew them back, and put them in a beer. So it was
That's
like
awesome.
that's how they decided to go with it.
That's right.
I'm
It was
like,
it was probably the fastest turnaround of wet hops from the plant into a beer.
yeah, like
it was
you
like
didn't personally grow, like you went out and
within like an hour.
they
or something like that.
little hours,
Just 2
So,
hours. What?
You know what? We got our lineup, man. Just grab whatever
A beer.
feels good to you. Whatever feels good.
Grab what feels good. So,
Jan, what are you
Taco
sipping on
Gato?
today?
I'm sipping on one of my beers to start. I'll probably get into another one, but it's called
Cool.
Inner Light. It's pale ale.
Good stuff.
And we've won a couple medals for it at GABF over the years. So
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to Taco Gato. Taco Gato.
Yeah, I may have to include some of that when we're talking about awards and such. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Shall we get back at it? Jan, you ready to get back into this
Yeah,
radio
yeah.
thing? Let's do
sounds
it.
good.
Follow the Beer Guys on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Your revolution is over, Mr. Lebowski. Condolences. The bomb's lost.
Now, back to the Beer Guys radio show.
Welcome back to the Beer Guys Radio Show. Remember, all episodes are available on demand. So if you missed the broadcast, get the podcast. Beer Guys Radio is available on the Podcast Park and all popular and unpopular podcasting apps. Now let's get back to our mutual friend brewing company. I'm having a real problem with my
man.
tongue
Have another beer.
and
Have another
possibly
beer.
brain. So
Jan, I have a question for you. So I had heard that, like in the mob, when a mobster introduces somebody to someone else, if they're a member of the mob, they will say, "This is a friend of ours." If they're not, they say, "This is a friend of mine," and it kind of indication. I'm very hopeful as I ask you this question, but is that the inspiration for the name?
It's more of having to do with the beer as our mutual friend and bringing people together. That way.
All right.
Yeah,
Fair
yeah,
enough.
yeah,
But
yeah.
they
It's
are
not
in
as
the
clever
mafia,
as
Tim.
it's not as smart as that. Yeah, but
That okay.
it's just kind of just the beer is our mutual friend, and it was how the original founders got together over beer and we're just kind of homebrewing and stuff. And
Sure.
Yeah. The beer was the mutual friend. Yeah.
Well, I'm disappointed that you're not mob owned, but we'll move on.
No, we're
from
not.
that
We're
and
not
have some
connected
good time
at
there.
all.
would
which
they
is,
tell you
yeah,
if they
good
were,
and
Tim?
bad. Yeah.
This is a friend of mine, our mutual friend.
That's right. Our mutual friend. I was wondering if it was one of those things where I think there's a bar where I went to college called My Friend's Place. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to my friend's place because to the right people overhearing it, significant others or anybody else, like, oh, okay,
Just
it's going to a
very
friend's.
innocent.
No,
right?
it's code.
Yeah.
It really was code for I'm going to go have some beers. So I was
Yeah.
thinking it might be that, but your explanation is much better than the one I was thinking of.
Yeah,
So,
it works great. It's
Yeah.
perfect. We've been talking about the seasons here, and Brian noted some of the posts you have on social media that are just shut up, it's still summer. That they're trying. We've got the Oktoberfest and the pumpkin beers just being shoved at us. You guys aren't ready to let go that yet, right?
Of summer? No way. No.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We release all our seasonals at the very last chance we can get to
Good.
do that. So our fest beer comes out the week of GABF, which is, real late, but
Man, I am so on it.
Yeah.
What started as kind of a joke with us, I said I refuse to drink any Oktoberfest beers before September 1st, just as my personal stand against seasonal creep. But then it turned into something like it's kind of unintentionally became a mission that we have to stick to now.
Yeah, respect that.
About it so
for
much.
sure.
So
yeah, we're obligated now. You drew a line in the sand, Tim, and apparently that's permanent.
I have picked this hill to die on.
Exactly.
That is correct. So what are you drinking right now, Jan? What this time of year in Denver, before it gets cold, what is the beer to drink from our mutual friend?
I'm on a big hop kick. I'm drinking our pale ale Inner Light right now. It's hopped with Amarillo in the kettle Whirlpool, and then dry hopped with a buttload of Mosaic.
Sounds like my jam.
That sounds really
I can
good.
drink
Yeah.
that. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
And
Absolutely.
then it's brewed with all Colorado malts.
Okay. Do you use a lot of Colorado ingredients in your beers?
All our base malt is from Colorado.
Cool.
We have a few different awesome craft maltsters in the state, and so all our
That's
base malts
pretty
are
great.
from Colorado. Yeah.
So I think some of the answer is at least some. How many of your beers are made with 100% Colorado grown products?
So a lot of the Saisons and like mixed culture stuff is, but it's harder to get, awesome hop characteristics and stuff like that. Some of the dark beers actually are as well. But not too many of the hoppy beers because, they don't grow Mosaic and Citra in Colorado. They just grow kind of USGA or whatever ag, public hop.
Okay.
Like
Bitter up
Cascade and
with them,
Chinook
huh?
and stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
Gotcha.
I actually
But
didn't
we try
realize
to
it.
incorporate them whenever we can. We use quite a bit of Cascade still, and then in our loggers are actually all Colorado as well. Now that I'm talking about it, we hop those with Colorado grown Tettnanger and Crystal. Those are about the lowest alpha we can find that are grown in the state.
Okay.
That's cool. Yeah.
That's very cool.
We're seeing more places that are getting their local maltsters, as we've seen the industry change. We talked a few weeks ago about the yeasts that are available now. And when Brian and I were homebrewing, we unfortunately haven't been able to do it much in about 5 years now.
Yeah, at least.
But, you had like Y Yeast White Labs, and then, like the USO5, USO4, and that. And we were just starting to get a few others starting to trickle out now. But now there's just this huge thing like the Kveik yeast. Those weren't even a thing over here. We brewed,
Yeah.
They were just starting to get like one of them. I think they were talking about getting one. It was very experimental. Now I think there's a number of varieties you could get, very easily over the shelf. But people are spoiled homebrewing today. But
good for them, man.
Possibly
good
brewing in
them.
general.
Awesome.
So
enjoy it. Yeah. We talked about a big event with GABF Jam, but you've got a big event coming up too. Gratitude 9, an event
9
and a beer release, right?
Yeah. Gratitude 9 on October 1st. It's a big party we throw every year, kind of just to say thanks and welcome in all our people that have supported us locally and tap like 30 awesome beers and release a couple awesome beers. This year, the Gratitude 9 beer is a Lingonberry Brett Saison, which I'm really excited about. It's going to come out in 750 clear bottles. And then we also have a IPA called Customer Appreciation that we, sell a little discounted price for the festival and stuff. And that's hopped with Galaxy, Eldorado, and like Cryo Mosaic. It's killer.
That sounds awesome.
Did you say clear bottle?
Hold on, we'll get to that. Well, I want to get there, Brian. I feel you.
All right.
So is Gratitude 9, is this like your anniversary party, or is this separate, just something you do?
It's a separate thing than ours since our anniversary. We do celebrate it, but it's in the winter and our tap room's super small that we can't really blow it out. So we throw this party. Yeah, every year. Now, Brian, before the crowds come and for GABF and stuff, so that then people local can come and hang out for a bit and try awesome beer.
The pregame, right? The big pregame party man. It's a good time. Brian, sorry, I was going to go there too. Go right ahead.
Yes. You said clear bottle. You're putting that Saison in a clear bottle.
Yes.
Did I hear correctly?
Absolutely.
And you were looking for maximum light struck funk out of that, I assume, right?
Sure. It's something that, that it's in a fruited beer, you might not pick up as much. I don't personally. Light struck, I do think is appropriate, for like your classic Saisons and Brett beers and stuff for sure too. I do think it's a complementary flavor. It also just looks awesome too. Yeah.
No, it definitely looks cool, and I like it in a Saison. I like it in mixed fermentation or Brett Saison.
Yeah, they're not very hopped beers, so it's not as bad. I feel like
True. Yeah, it's not as intense of the skunkiness. It's a I taste it and I always kind of think, oh, that tastes like a Belgian coming over, Belgian sour, that sort of thing.
I love too that it's a Brett Saison, because we've talked before. Brett doesn't get as much love as it used to, and that's sad because it's just
really bums me out. We brew quite a few Brett single isolate Brett Saisons or Brett blend Saisons. We do make maybe a few mixed culture Saisons, but I make a lot of Sac Saison as well.
Okay.
I'm big Saison head.
All right. Well, that was
kind of where we cut our teeth. Yeah.
When we were home brewers, that was our quote unquote flagship. We did Synesthesia Saison, and awesome. that was our main beer. We did quite a few variations on it.
We did. Yeah.
Got us a handful of homebrew medals for it. And we did talking about the light struck and that, we did an experiment one time with a version where we bottled half in 750 brown bottles and half in 750 green bottles.
Yeah.
And then we intentionally sat one in indirect light for like 6 months and then tasted them next to each other. And I mean, night and day, Jan, just huge difference in these two beers. And the green bottle with the light struck, it wasn't skunky. It was just very complex, earthy.
Is very good.
It was everybody, we blind tasted it, and everyone that blind tasted it preferred the quote unquote light struck bottle.
And the brown bottle was also sitting in the same amount of light, correct?
Yes, it was also.
Just because the brown bottle keeps more of the light
more
out.
blockage there.
Exactly.
Sure enough. But
what about like size of bottle? Do you think like the DuPont, the 12 ounce or 11 ounce versus the 750? Do you think that?
Well, now we gotta do some more science, Jan. We
gotta
do some more science.
Because I think there might be a difference between the little bottle and the big bottle.
That's a good point.
Very likely.
That's a good point.
I generally think that beer that's ages or develops together in larger quantities tends to be better. That would be my theory, but I'm open to trying both. I do prefer my Saisons and 750s whenever possible.
I do. I enjoy that. It's not, I'm still into the pomp and circumstance of a big bottle, and you pop it and you get your teku or whatever you have, and put the cork on the side like you like to do, Brian.
Yes.
And just it's the whole experience of it, Jan. I'm all about it. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to ponder the Saison experience, and we'll be right back with more from our mutual friend. I'm going to get a controversial hat that says "Make Saisons Cool Again," and wear that, because I really think that I think people are missing out on it's probably been 7, 8 years ago that Saisons were cool.
Were they really cool, or were they just kind of a passing trend? I know that Brett was huge in everything.
Yeah, Brett was big for
everything.
a while.
Was Brett.
Yeah.
And I like that, and I missed that. But I don't know if Saisons, I think people talked a lot about them.
Yeah.
I don't know how popular they actually were. Like,
I don't know either. They sell really well for us on draft, no problem, but the package is still tough to get it to move fast.
Yeah, I know that's people just don't get into it as much, but it's still such a fantastic style, and we still preach it, drink it when we've got one on deck here. So one from a now closed Denver brewery, Trinity. They did that magical Britannomyces tour. Do you recall that? Are you familiar with that?
I don't remember that. They made so many beers though.
Yeah.
Are they closed now?
I think.
Good question.
I think they changed hands.
Yeah.
Was that it? He just got out.
He left,
just got
and
out.
I think they're still around. And I think Little Red Stapler or something like they had a number of them. I think they might still release it, but I don't know if it's going to be the same kind of beer.
Yeah.
But
so the magical Britannomyces tour was 375 bottles of the same base beer, each with a single Brett strain. So you can kind of take a look at what each of the strains did. And I couldn't find all of them, but we tried a few. And
those were so good. That what was it, Red Stapler or something like that? What was the one that I just really loved?
Swing line. Okay. Yeah, something like that, like an office.
There we go. Let's get in some Saison funk.
Yeah.
That was a fantastic beer. I had that and I'm like, oh my God, this is
that was a good one. He killed it for a bit there for sure.
Yeah.
It sounds like he left the industry angrily.
I think so.
Like he's just like, I'm sick of the BS.
I didn't know him at all, so I don't know what the deal was. But
gotcha. I thought that was corked.
Watch it. Yeah. Get your glass ready.
No, I believe in it. I shouldn't have believed. No, I think no.
No, don't believe in it.
Okay, fine. Here we go. A little bit. Not too bad.
Don't believe the hype.
Not too bad. There you go, Brian.
All right. That's a good.
What did you guys pour?
This is from Yazoo. Their Embrace the Funk line. It is Saison Dubois.
That beer's really good. I've had it.
What's the footnote say on that, Nate?
Just handcrafted.
Okay, gotcha.
It has a very lambic-y aroma, and I enjoy that. It doesn't taste like a.
This lambic-y. Says it is our version. What's that?
Maybe some aged hops.
That's what I'm wondering. Yeah. Let's see. Our version of a rustic Belgian farmhouse style ale brewed with a Pilsner and oats, fermented yeast, and aged for 6 months in French oak puncheons. a soft mouthfeel of wheat and rye gives way to a long, dry, and tart finish, is what it says. That's the text is all blurry on the bottle, but I think that's what it
What
says.
I just heard is Tim's getting a punchy on in the mouth. And I'm in
Why?
favor of it.
Why? I tell you all about this beer and I get
That's
grief.
right. That's all I heard. I heard punching in the mouth. That's what I heard. But and this is a green bottle. I don't know if you could see that over the video.
I did, yeah.
It's that's quite nice. It's quite nice. You know what? Smelling the way it does, I kind of expected more of that aggressive lambic sourness.
Yeah, just a little lighter, a little softer, lighter there.
Yeah, and it's not. No, it's nothing wrong with it at all.
Yeah,
it just got me excited for something else.
I like it. I like the aroma at least.
It's got some of the elements there.
The taste is definitely lighter than the aroma,
muted almost.
But I dig that.
Yeah, it's.
I wouldn't
it's
even
nice.
call it muted. I disagree with your assessment that it's muted. I think it's just soft.
Okay, perhaps soft. Perhaps soft is the right thing.
Quote your co-host. It's delightful.
It's delightful.
Yeah, I know. Then he's like, I don't know.
I know.
Gosh, see, Jan, again, this is what I deal with. So
there's more drama in this show than there normally is. I don't
know,
why.
Jan's got
no
some
idea
sexy foeders over there at his brewery. I saw pictures. It's
we got some. Yeah.
Yeah.
We
It's
have
like-
some American Foeder Crafter foeders that we
nice.
make. There's two that are dedicated to certain beers, and then one that we use to blend with all sorts of different stuff.
I like it, man. We should get
Yeah,
a
we
foeder
like
in the
those a lot.
studio. Yeah.
I would love it. It's a good funky sour ale and a foeder that we could just go hit throughout the day. You know, that'd be
Yeah.
great.
American Foeder Crafter makes like skinny small ones. You guys could fit one for
Dude,
sure.
we could fit one in here.
We
We'll
could
get
have-
rid of Bernice.
We could have a still lambic in the studio, like
We
just
could.
like we've talked about.
We'll keep Bernice. We'll get rid of the shrubbery.
Oh yeah, the shrub.
And
Yeah,
put
get rid
a-
of that.
Get rid of that and put a foeder in there.
Yeah, you kind of see that in there. You know, it does kind of disguise that back corner, which is kind of a mess. So I don't know. The foeder would look
But
better there.
Our video feed would be sexy with a tall, skinny foeder in the background.
Yeah,
definitely.
that would really be
business
good.
expense.
That's exactly right.
That can't be that expensive.
Right
Employee
away.
What are you talking about?
enrichment,
Yeah,
Brian.
yeah,
Employee
yeah.
enrichment.
That can't be that expensive, right? It can't be more than like 10,
10,
grand.
12. Yeah. Shouldn't be bad.
It'd be
at
a
all.
little less than that.
Should
Oh,
be
see, then we're good to go, man.
wow,
It's a good deal now.
quite the deal. Quite the
Beer
deal.
of the week is on tap.
That's it. The beer of the week. Every beer, the beer of the week.
What's
A
in the
still-
foeder?
A still lamp.
What's in the foeder?
Cool. All right.
All right.
Seg 3, Nate. Let's get at it.
Follow the Beer Guys on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Cannonball coming.
Now, back to the Beer Guys radio show.
Welcome back to the Beer Guys Radio Show. I want to give a quick shout out to one of our newest. No, not one of our newest. Let's restart this one, dude.
You know what? We're going to give Brian a courtesy reset on this one.
this one,
Only everyone watching on the internet. will
only
know.
everybody. I did this to myself. I had a shout out to our newest radio affiliate last week. So
Yeah.
one of our great, really. Okay, I'm ready. Let's do it again.
Man, we are so lucky this is not a live show on the so. All right.
Follow the Beer Guys on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Cannonball coming.
Now, back to the Beer Guys radio show.
Welcome back to the Beer Guys Radio Show. I want to give a quick shout out to one of our great radio affiliates, WUVR 1490 AM and 98.9 FM in Lebanon, New Hampshire. Catch Beer Guys Radio on WUVR every Saturday at 10 p.m. Now let's get back to our mutual friend brewing company.
Jan, I would love to talk more about Saisons and mixed cultures and Brett's and aged hops and stuff. So if you
Absolutely. Yeah,
Let's do
you're speaking
that.
to me.
Yeah. So we
Yeah.
when we were on break there, we mentioned you have some foeders there, and we've
Yes.
talked about puncheons and that. There's so many different vessels to do these beers in. What is a foeder, and what's the benefit of using one of those for your beers?
Yeah, so for us, well, a foeder is just a large oak vessel used to either you could ferment in or just aged beer in. We use them for like a few different beers. So we do mixed culture fermentation in them, and then we also do single Brett isolate fermentation or many Brett fermentation in them. For us, it's just an awesome long-term, aging process for mixed culture and Brett beers, to develop really awesome flavors, complex flavors and aromas. They're just really awesome as well, since they're large, to not have to blend as well. You have kind of, cohesive product coming out of it right out of the bat. Yeah.
So with that, do you kind of get your foeders inoculated? Is there some predictability from batch to batch once you get that going in the foeder?
Yeah. It depends on which cultures, you have going on and stuff. So like, say you've got some lacto, so over the time it might build to be more sour and stuff, but you can combat that by upping your hopping rates, for each batch and control your acidity levels that way. And then for us, we see for the Brett beers that they're decently, consistent. We'll repitch, depending on how many turns we have, it'll get to, whatever point, and we're like, all right, time to reset, and we'll just, rinse it out, brew, fill it back up, and then pitch new cultures.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
So with foeders, I saw today on social media somebody was selling old beer barrels that they'd aged things in. It was like tequila and whatever. Foeders, I never really thought about it. How long do they last indefinitely, as long as you treat them well, or do you eventually need to replace them?
As long as they don't go acidic. Yeah, as long as they don't get Acetobacter in there or get too sick with Pediococcus. Yeah, Pediococcus, you can play around with and age out, and have Brett combat that as well. But yeah, Acetobacter is really the one you really want to look out for, and that can creep up and ruin a foeder for sure. But other than that, like potentially could last a lifetime, maybe. I don't know.
Didn't we see something about I think, for lack of a better term, a beer Solera that was like 250 years old or something, where they just kept adding to it, kind of letting that culture do its thing?
That's
I believe so. I'm
going to say yes, but I don't recall for sure,
yes.
But believable.
You mentioned something, Jan, that I still think is fascinating, is well beyond my scope of knowledge. But you were talking about if the PDO doesn't go too crazy, PDO will give you that ropey slick,
it can,
right?
Yeah, if it's dominant and if it's like out competing, your other cultures, it can just go kind of gross and wild and stuff. But
yeah,
I think what's happening though when it cleans up is that Brettanomyces is kind of breaking everything down. Brettanomyces loves to just kind of eat everything. So
yeah, put it in there. I've heard it can even help that Brett beers are less susceptible to like oxidation, because that the Brett will even,
interesting.
Aerobic, I think.
The aerobic fermentation is one that uses oxygen.
Brett will just chomp it up,
is
man.
without
anaerobic. It's anaerobic, because that's what builds the pellicle on top. They get oxygen. Yeah.
They don't want any of it in there.
Science.
Yeah.
Science in my beer.
That's crazy. So I heard, because I've seen a bottle when you open it up, it became kind of almost like a melted gummy bear or something.
I've had some that was like syrup. Wicked Weed had one of their Angel releases that went ropey, and I think, Jan, because not everybody is nerds like us that understands, if someone gets a bottle of beer and they pour it out and it's snotty, that's it. They're done. Yeah. If some Wicked Weed's like, right, and I think Wicked Weed's like, put that on the shelf and leave it for 6 months or a year.
The actual Brett in the bottle would clean up the beer and make it drinkable again. I don't know that I've ever actually tested that out, but that's what I've heard, that the Brett will come back in, like Jan was saying.
It might. Yeah.
If it's there, I guess it has to be alive and enough of it there to do the chewing.
Exactly. Yeah.
I have heard that ropiness can clear up. Can pass if you get that.
You might want to hold on to those bottles before they hit the shelf, though.
That's right. Yeah, you don't want to get them out there and then tell the consumer. We can't even get consumers. I say it like I'm not one.
Yeah.
But you guys can't even get consumers put their beer in their fridge sometimes.
Oh my God,
like, just do this. Just refrigerate
I see it
it.
on tap. I'm like, that beer is ancient. and I know you bought
Yeah.
it from us because you said you bought it from us,
Right.
and you just
right.
stuck it in the back of your fridge for months. And I'm like,
Just
oh,
leave it there.
Yeah.
But the cool thing is 3 years later, when they do take it out and drink it, they're going to give you a bad review on Untapped
It's
when
great.
they finally
times.
drink it.
Exactly
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Hops are muted, oxidized, 1 star.
Exactly. Yeah.
But
Fantastic.
some things are good with age, Jan, like hops, for example. You can use aged hops in your beer. Can you share with us the benefit and the reason for using aged hops in brewing?
Yeah, we really do like using aged hops in some of our mixed culture beers and even Saison. Aged hops, just have that distinct funk and character that you can't get from any other ingredient. And it's, reminiscent of lambic too. It's like a key component in those beers. And I'm a huge lambic head. We don't make spontaneous beer anymore. We did for a little bit. But just that character of, like funky, cheesy, dry, is just something really appealing about that. And it's really the only way to add that. It's a huge component, I think. And I just am a huge fan of aged hops. Yeah. So we make like a beer called Biro Vale, and the only hops in that are aged hops. And then we make a single Brett Saison called Tristero, and that has some Colorado Cascade and aged hops in it as well. Yeah, and the aged hops we use are all from Colorado as well. I'll buy a whole bale and just stick it in our warehouse and let it hang out, for years and years and years.
Put it up in the rafters and leave it there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so there isn't a source. I was curious about that. There's not a source that actually will age and sell hops.
I think they're YCH. Some of the Pacific Northwest suppliers might sell aged hops as well, but we use Colorado ones, so we age our own. Yeah.
What are you looking for in the hops? Is it just I want something from Colorado, or do you have specific strains that are more ideal than others?
Colorado and lower alpha, as low alpha as we can get. So we're usually just using crystal for our aged hop. So I'll buy a aged hop, and then it just it's just a softer profile in the end product of the aged hops, which is kind of what you're going for. And they pick up a little more funk. The higher alpha they would preserve for longer. As well.
Okay,
but
that's
our aged hops
interesting.
we use are between I don't even know, 18 months to 5 years now. We have a kind of a range. Yeah, how old they are. Yeah.
Are you blending aged hops when you're making these
No, generally I'm using the oldest ones that I have. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Trying to get through those. We went a little heavy at once and bought a few bales, at a time. And so we don't get to use it as much as possible. So I've got a surplus. Yeah. And probably most people who bought aged hops maybe 5-10 years ago also have a surplus.
Have a little
or
bit.
we're buying hops to age. Yeah.
It was all the enthusiasm there, right? I don't know what
We're like, we love this. This is the best stuff ever. And then it just kind of flatlined.
Well, if everybody was brewing these great Brett Saisons, they would have gone through it already. But unfortunately, we're focusing a little too much on IPAs, perhaps.
We need a time machine. That's for one. Brian and I talked last night. We went to visit ancient Rome and see the painted statues and all that, like the way it really was. Maybe see what they were brewing, Brian.
Yeah, exactly.
Go back there and see what they've got. But to go back to different periods in time, go back to the 40s and get some Cuban pre-embargo cigars.
Oh, that'd be good.
Try the beers of
or
the
just
time.
anytime before 62,
right?
Pretty much.
Go back, hang out with Johnny and smoke some of his stash there at the White House and just have a good time with it. But
pre-prohibition beers in America.
Yeah. Right. Yes.
Yeah.
So you wanted to go back to the times when Saisons were cool?
That's it. I want to go to a Wallonian farmfarmhouse, man, and get the stuff that's run straight through the hay and see what's up. I want to see when they say farmhouse ale. I want one.
Like the juniper branches and everything else. Absolutely. And all that neat stuff baked in an oven.
What? I have got myself too worked up, Brian. We're going to have to take a break so I can calm down. You're listening to the Beer Guys Radio Show, and we will be right back with more from our mutual friend.
I kind of enjoy how off the rails the show seemed.
Sorry,
it's you.
It's mostly me.
We're good, man. I think we're on the rails.
Are we on the rails?
I think we have an interesting pace, but we're covering relevant topics.
Okay, that's good.
Would you agree, Jan? We're doing pretty good here, right?
Love it. Yeah, absolutely. Saison's important.
I'm barely clinging onto the train that is on the rails.
I know.
That's the problem. That's what it is.
Where is this train going?
Yeah.
What am I doing?
Everybody else is sitting in normally. I'm on the outside screaming. Yeah, that's what it is.
Screaming.
Do you
Jan,
guys know
What's that?
Henhouse Brewing? Do you guys know Henhouse Brewing in California?
I know the name. That's it on that.
Yeah,
one.
I did a podcast with them once, and then
Okay.
somebody brought up smoke beer for no reason, and then we spent 20, 30 minutes talking about smoke beer, and the podcast was terrible.
It's now the Smoke Beer Show.
I was going to say that's in our list of things to talk about. Like, that was a terrible show.
We got to be
Never
careful
mind.
with it.
Yeah,
It is. In all honesty, there's things that we personally would love to spend 2 straight hours talking about, but we try to be cognizant that other people are listening to this.
Yeah.
And they, they, I could sit around like he mentioned Stan Hieronymus. We've had Stan on the show a couple times, and we could sit around and talk about hopping rates and alphas and co-cumulon and all that for forever. But that is our audience, especially since we're a radio show. So it's more a broad reach, a broad broadcast there. We don't want to nerd too much. We want enough to where it's interesting to everybody, but
people don't know what myrcene and what are those other oils? I'm forgetting some of the ones you used, linalool and myrcene, and I'm forgetting some of them. It's been too long since I've nerded out about various hop oils and compounds and that sort of thing. So
I don't think I want to take any more of the show to ask you about you said you don't do spontaneous anymore, and I don't recall, is spontaneous brewing required for the method traditional beers?
Yes, it would be.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, and then it would be your ingredients, and then I forget there might have been method traditional lambic and method traditional whatever they wanted to call goose, because goose is kind of like a
MT3,
MT and
MT3
and all that.
So I do think there were specifics for that, your ratios of Pilsner to wheat, and then your turbid mash schedule was part of that as well. We were never prescribed to that. We did do turbid mashing and using H hops and stuff, but our success rate wasn't high, and our brewery is very small, so we didn't have a lot of place for storage for barrels. So it's hard to do when you don't have a lot of room, and then it really takes about 3 years to get good at that.
To get it there,
3 years in a row to figure it out. So
quite the investment.
We did make some good beer, but then we were like, oh geez, we really don't have the room to continue this, which is a bummer. I would love to.
So that may address my next question. I think. Do you have a cool ship?
We don't. What we used to use was an old dairy tank that was open,
right?
Kind of half. Yeah, people use a mash tun. You probably see them every once in a while.
Oh, sure.
We used to have a dairy tank mash tun, actually.
That I think back in the day, the early days, those dairy tanks did a lot of brewing. So
we made a lot of beer
repurposed into bruising. Sure enough.
Yeah, you can make.
Do you do anything? And maybe this is no. I think we've already moved past this. Do you inoculate anything with the express intent of creating something in the vein of a lambic or a goose? But obviously without the cool ship. So you inoculate in such a way that the end result will taste similar without going through.
So that beer I mentioned, Birra Valle, is maybe reminiscent of it, but not really. It's got those flavors in there, but it's really hard to invoke if we're not turbid mashing and stuff and doing that.
All right.
Gotcha.
So it's more to it.
It's a much younger beer. It's about a 8 month to a 1 year. So I call it mixed culture Saison. Yeah.
Mixed culture. Y'all, I want to give a shout out right now to Yazoo and Embrace the Funk. This is delightful, Brian.
This is delightful. I agree.
It's soft. I don't know if I'd go muted. To me sounds negative, like it's missing something, and I don't think this is.
Soft may be a better term for it, because muted, it doesn't taste like it's watered down. It does taste soft,
right? And there's still some complexity. The tartness is there in that, so
the flavor seems turned down from the aroma. Like the aroma's much stronger than the flavor. So
I got you.
They got two volume knobs there, and the flavor one's turned down a little bit. The aroma one's turned up a little bit. So
Nate, could you get us some rinse water, sir? That would be much. Actually, if you give me one of those blue bottles, I'll rinse and then drink it.
Could you get us another one of those Embrace the Funk Saison de Bois?
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. Rinse this out.
Make a run up there to Nashville.
I'm about to turn L's piano key stout here into a sour if I don't give a good rinse on this glass here. So
what type of stout is it?
It is a chocolate vanilla stout.
I
And
think he said it was
nice.
imperial too, right?
let's see, where are we? Imperial stout with chocolate and vanilla extract. But he mentioned,
This is version 4, and version 5 is coming out.
yeah,
And I think the GABF release event is showcasing version 5
right.
or
And
release 5.
of course, piano keys, the black and the white, the vanilla, the chocolate, and the charity that they created, the New Belgium and L together created
Brew Gather.
Brewgether, like together, but with brew, supports various with a portion of the proceeds from this beer.
That's
So,
awesome.
very good cause that Ale is behind.
Helps
that.
them out with, I think it's just support. Like, I don't recall all of it, but brewing support and education too, I think.
Well, I don't think just that, because he mentioned like giving to Bottle Share,
Oh, that's
which
right.
is just like a support system thing.
And that's right, because if that's right.
For
When people get injured and they need
Sick,
need help,
injured,
that's
family
right.
emergency for those.
He
working
did say that he
in
was
the
working with
brewing
Bottle Share as
industry.
well. Yep.
Yep.
Correct.
That's awesome.
Okay.
Yep.
It's been a minute since I had one of these. I had,
Me too.
I don't know if I had version 1 or version 2 prior to this, and I didn't realize it. I didn't realize it had been re-released so many times.
Is it always New
Version-
Belgium?
It is. Yeah, it's a
Okay,
thing
cool.
he does with them. They do different series.
It's
May
like a, you know,
I had
he
to have tried it
mentioned-
then. Yeah. One of
Yeah.
the versions. Yeah.
he mentioned that there's going to be a spin on one of the new releases, because I think it's just been, I don't think he's done like any variations or anything, just different versions.
Hey,
Yeah.
Nate, can you zoom in on the can just so people can see it?
Some piano keys there.
See if we're
Oh, sweet.
We'll get close.
all right, close enough. Let me see if I can get closer.
We need another camera. We need another camera so we can do a little better zoom.
There
in
we go.
there. So there we go. There's the piano keys. We need to get a camera and have like a corner of the table where we can just put it there, and that camera's like
Oh yeah,
right on it.
the can cam.
Yeah. Actually, you could set a shortcut on that, Nate, to where we could set a beer. Excuse me. I've been drinking, so I got a little burples there.
Did you get the vapors over there,
Yeah,
Tim?
I think what I want to do for the entire fourth segment is argue with Jan about cold IPAs. I think that's.
Oh,
Jan
all right.
is to
We
just-
make one.
yeah,
It's in the notes, and
that's it. So actually, we
Is
still
it
have.
IPL or is it cold IPA?
That's it. See, I did. I took one of, the Scooby-Doo meme where like the first one is a dude with the mask on. They're like, let's see who this really is, and they pull the mask off. Have you seen that? So I did one where the first one I replaced the head with cold IPA, and then they pull the mask off, and it's of course IPL.
IPL.
What
So-
about West Coast Pills?
Gosh, yeah.
Is that a thing?
See, now
Big
something
time,
else to
big
be mad
time.
about.
California had to do their own whole thing.
Gosh.
Of course. Well, they
Well,
are
when
California.
I was in San Diego, 3 different breweries I went to had a San Diego style IPA, and I asked them what a San Diego
they
style
love
was,
being
and it was
that
kind of
regional.
like,
Yeah, they love it.
so
It's like, what are you doing here? Like, we just San
Yeah.
Diego. It was made in San Diego. Yeah, but what? How is it different?
yeah. They told me it was kind of an East-West hybrid kind of thing. So
It's the same thing we used to call
I
the
don't
East
know.
Coast IPA.
The East Coast IPA.
Yeah,
Well, now it's a San Diego style IPA.
apparently,
It was good,
apparently, every place that isn't either the West Coast or the Northeast has got their own version of basic fusion of the two.
My palate would have called it a West Coast IPA if I was not told it was a San Diego style.
I found that a lot of
And
people.
according to our good friend Ding on Twitter,
Yes.
West Coast IPA doesn't exist.
Yeah, that's right. It doesn't exist.
No such thing, but whatever. Right, Ding?
Yeah.
So
I hope he's watching.
I
That'd
hope
be
he is.
fantastic.
I hope he is.
Yeah, he's my favorite troll.
My favorite troll. That's tasty stout, man. It's been
That's
a minute
good.
since I've had a
Yeah.
stout.
Yeah,
All
We're creeping
right.
on stout season.
Right. So
Yeah.
stouts are for summer.
we
baby.
like to be hypocritical a lot, Jan, in what we say.
Okay.
So
All right.
we're all about, we fight seasonal creep for that, but we also did a show called Stouts Are for Summer. So we're all about drinking stouts year round, but pumpkin beer and Oktoberfest need to stay in their lane.
Also,
is the
Christmas beer,
thing.
GTFO.
Christmas beers, you stay there. We're going to come visit you after Thanksgiving.
Exactly.
We love you and we want to hang out
We
with
do.
you. We'll do it after the turkey dinner is done.
Yeah, exactly. There's a
So,
time and a place for
We
you.
should do a whole show on our crotchety opinions on when to drink certain beers or beer styles or things like that.
We can invite all the trolls we know on social media to come in.
Oh my God. An all troll show, Jan. That would be
The beer troll show.
that would be great. But we'll lie to all of them and tell them it's some kind of yes, we're gonna have, Sam Calagione.
It's a very,
Yeah,
very
highbrow.
serious
Highbrow.
discussion.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Hey, look,
Yeah.
we really value your opinions and we want to
Yeah.
and then it's just all
Yeah.
trolls in a room.
The crazy.
They just attack. They'll attack and
should go
devour each
great.
other. We could just watch.
Watch the carnage.
I'd
The
watch.
Beer Guys Radio cage match. All right, let's see. So we've got segment. We want to talk about your collaborations. We want to talk about
Future releases and
future releases
yeah,
and cold. Can we fit those 3 topics into?
collabs.
Can we?
Whatever
can we-
you guys want to do. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Sounds
I'm
good,
not here
man.
to sell
Let's
anything.
let's get.
Because the cold IPA thing is still, at least for now, is still relevant and interesting.
Oh yeah.
Like it
Well, I
may
mean, it's
not
got
be in a
its-
week,
it-
but
Has it made it into the style guidelines yet? Do you know?
No, so we entered that beer. We entered our cold IPA into
Okay.
IPL at GABF.
Ha. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah, but a
Okay.
cold IPA will win that category. I
Oh, for sure.
guarantee.
See? Yeah.
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah.
So
So
I
it's
had
morphed
noticed.
into that. Yeah.
I had noticed, and I think
Okay.
this is a recent thing. Untapped has updated their styles, and there is an IPA dash cold in there.
I know you mentioned that. Yeah.
And I'm like, I hadn't seen that before, so that's a new thing.
Just hoppy lager
So-
doesn't sound good. I don't know, like it's not going
Hoppy-
to sell the
right.
way. Yeah.
I liked
Yeah.
the
IPA,
IPLs back.
so
Oh, I
here's-
like hoppy lager too, but yeah, Pivo, yeah.
That's it. That's
Yeah.
my opinion is the death of IPL is that no one wanted an IPL. Just plain and simple. People were a
Yeah.
little more on board with hoppy lager, or maybe a hoppy pilsner, but that was also because people were a little more on board with lagers and pilsners in general. But
Yeah.
back when Founders released
Dissenter,
that was a very good beer.
extremely
But it
good.
said IPL on the bottle, so it got dusty on shelves.
Yeah, it got like blown over with the IBU wars. Like it got like
Yeah.
mixed up with the IBU wars.
Yep.
Kind of, I think
Yep.
that the IPL
The
did.
1,000 IBU
Yeah.
McKellar beers.
Yeah,
and
they were
stuff,
just kind
so
of bitter sometimes, and like overly bitter. The IPL sometimes,
was
by
it.
like not the bad ones were. Yeah,
Yeah.
Man, Dissenter. I really wish. I love that people weren't buying it up, because I was going back and buying it again and again and again and drinking it. The problem is it had a short lifespan on the shelves, and it was a 750. So of course, the dumb beer stores were putting it on the warm shelf. So
in the warm. Yeah,
after
in the warm.
after
Even the
a
beer
couple of
stores
weeks,
didn't
a
know
month,
what to do with it.
after a
Yeah.
month or so,
Yeah.
it's like, all right, this is no longer as good. It's
crazy.
no longer worth me paying a premium for. Previously, and back then, a premium wasn't very much. I mean, maybe I was paying $10 for
probably
a 750 of that.
yeah.
I would do
Founders,
that
yeah.
in a second now, but yeah. Anyway,
madness. All right, Nate, let's do it. Let's jump into seg 4 here.
Follow the Beer Guys on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Now, back to the Beer Guys Radio Show.
welcome back to the Beer Guys Radio Show. If you enjoy the show, please consider supporting us on Patreon. Just go to patreon.com/Beer Guys. Patrons get cool perks like Beer Guys swag and commercial-free episodes. Now let's get back to our Mutual Friend Brewing Company.
Jan, I decided the last segment of the show, I thought a great way to treat any guest was to try and be controversial in the last segment and argumentative. So
Let's go.
So that's my goal.
Potentially abusive.
So along those lines, I want to talk about cold IPAs. So
Yeah, all right.
the first question is cold IPA a thing?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, you're all right. You're on there. I got you. I got you.
I am. Yeah, the way that the malt bill is adjuncted, and yeah, it's definitely separate. It's its own thing for sure. Yeah.
And you do brew a or some cold IPAs, correct?
Yeah. We make one called Dream Burner. It's
Okay.
the malt bill is Pilsner and rice, and then we do like a pseudo decoction because our system isn't set up that way. But usually you would like do a cereal cook with the rice or corn, and then incorporate that back into your mash.
Okay.
We do like kind of like a pseudo decoction with all of it together to kind of get that going. And then, you kind of hop it, like a lighter traditional West Coast IPA. So ours is, Centennial, Mosaic, and Citra. Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. All
yeah.
right.
And it's just the body is like really, really crushable and drinkable. And then the aromas are awesome, like kind of like modern West Coast IPA, like citrusy and fruity.
And what yeast do you use in yours?
We use 3470.
And what's that one?
Oh, what is that? Kind of like the main traditional, like I forget what the equivalents are. It's just kind of an old school lager yeast. Yeah, kind of.
It's a
one of the
lager
main ones.
yeast
Yeah,
in an IPA. Is that right?
correct. Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah.
That's a lager yeast in an ale.
That-
Okay.
that's-
yeah.
All right.
yeah.
I just wanted
We
to
ferment
see there.
ours real cold.
I just wanted
there
to
you go.
check.
Yeah.
Is
You know,
You got it.
is-
Yeah.
did you try a variety of different lager yeasts and to make these and find that
No,
was
because we just use
ideal?
3470 and everything. Yeah,
okay?
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
We,
and the lagers. Yeah.
we have a buddy here, Jan, that we went to his brewery and he had brewed a cold IPA. And he's followed me. We chat about me just being crotchety about cold IPAs. And he's talking about brewing one. I'm like, there's no such thing. And he's like, and I said, yeah, but it uses he's lager. He's like, no, I was waiting for you to say that. I used an L yeast, and
I think we were in the tap room when he brought
We
that
were,
out, and I'm like,
yeah.
oh really, a cold IPA?
yeah,
And
Yeah.
he was very aggressive.
he was ready for me, Jan. He
Triumphant.
was ready
Yeah.
when I got lippy about the yeast there. So, but you know what? But whether it's a thing or not, and it isn't, then but they're good. They're good.
Oh,
Jan.
they're great.
I'll say
yeah,
that.
and they have
So,
I think they have their place. I don't brew beer
Yeah.
we don't brew beer that we don't enjoy ourselves.
right.
And we don't our brewery has never chased trends or anything like that at all, really. That
Right.
like if we got to be inspired by something. So, Kevin at Wayfinder kind of spearheaded that style. And we had been going to Portland for a while and trying he used to just call it IPA, and then he kind of marketed it, or I don't know what happened there, but it got to be called
It
Cold
evolved,
IPA.
right. Yeah.
And then, but it was really just his IPA that he made with lager yeast,
Okay.
and and so like we have been drinking these beers for a while, and we really like them. We love drinking them, so we're like, all right, we love drinking these. Let's make one ourselves.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
And you said you've actually entered yours in the GABF competition this year.
Yeah,
correct?
we did into the
What
hoppy
category
lager
did that go?
I think it's called
into?
hoppy lager or IPA.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's called hoppy lager. Yeah. Now that I
The
think of it,
evolution
just
of a
hoppy lager.
style.
So
Yeah.
I know you made it at least once. Is that something? It's going to be an ongoing. 'Cause you like it, so it sounds like it's going to be an
it will be.
ongoing beer.
We're a real small brewery, so making lager is kind of hard because we have only so much stainless, fermentation control tanks or temperature control tanks. So we do make it year round, though. Just whenever we can get it in, we do make it.
Good stuff.
So do you think this
It
has
flies,
staying?
though. It sells really well. Yeah.
Okay. Do you think this has staying power, or is this going the same direction as the Brute IPA? Because I thought the Brute IPA might be onto something, and then it basically died.
Brewed IPA never spoke to me. I never made one, so
right.
I don't know about that. But I think maybe the names might change. But I think the clean, really delicious, awesome hop profile lager is here to stay for sure. Yeah, for as long
Cold
as people
IPA.
are still as long as people are digging hoppy beers, I think. A really clean, cold, lager hoppy beer is here. Yeah.
Well, I was talking about it on social media. I think that we need an ice cold IPA
Ice bucket.
where they ice box the cold IPA. I
Absolutely.
think we might as well go there because I would drink it. I want somebody to hurry up and make that so I can try it.
Yeah, you actually had an exchange with someone coming up with some names.
Oh
like
yeah.
Ice Baki.
Yeah,
or
Ice
something like that,
Baki,
Keith? Are
and
there, so
yeah, I don't recall all of them, but a lot of ice references. Cold as ice, EIS. Yeah, it was good stuff.
that's good stuff. Well, Jan, thank you for the, actually, I do appreciate the conversation, of course, man, on the cold IPAs and just, learning more about those and trying to, dive into those styles. But, moving ahead, you've got some cool stuff coming up. I think you mentioned you've got some collaborations coming, correct?
Yeah. So we have, let's see, what do we got coming out? during GABF week, I think on Wednesday. Forget what the date is, but have a whiskey barrel aged stout collab with Jackie O's coming out. That's going to be awesome in 12-ounce cans. A really big variety malt bill aged in Kentucky bourbon barrels. And then that's coming out in 12-ounce cans. And then we also have a collab with Outer Range coming out. Hoppy hazy beer with Kohatu and Mosaic coming out Friday of GABF week as well.
Good stuff. Now,
Very cool.
Are you back to where your collabs are actually getting together to do this stuff for other? I remember the virtual collaborations through the
we
plague.
definitely did some of those, because
Yeah.
like we're getting bored and we want to see our
Sure.
friends and stuff. Yeah. But
Yeah.
no, most of these have been in person. And then we have a couple breweries coming out during GABF that we're brewing with. We're going to be brewing with Trophy Brewing out of Raleigh. And
Okay.
then we're brewing with Holdout out of Austin, Texas as well during GABF. So those will be out post GABF, but yeah, keep an eye out for those as well.
Your list of various beers available on tap and previously released, like collabs are a huge thing for you guys.
Yeah, they ended up being a big collab. We ended up doing a lot of collabs over the years.
Yeah, like what percentage of the beers that you actually serve, like that are available at any given point in time, are collaborations? It seemed like it was like 50% at least.
Sometimes it can look that way for sure. But usually we have like 2 on, I would say. Yeah. Like right now we have
cool.
one on.
That's still
Right
good.
now, today
Yeah,
we have
that's
one on, and then this Saturday we're tapping another one. Yeah.
Having a couple collabs on at a time is pretty
Yeah.
respectable,
Absolutely.
having that many
Yeah.
going.
No,
Sure
it's good to work together. So like you've got I think you were telling us you also have some upcoming releases beyond GABF, like fall releases you wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
So what's coming up?
So I think I was talking about maybe our Grudzitsky. We brew a Grudzitsky every fall, which is kind of cool. I actually sent that beer to Stan Hieronymus once and to get some review because he's been to Poland and stuff and has tasted those beers. And he he said ours was the smokiest he'd ever had.
Okay.
But I don't have I don't have like, a metric to judge it because I've never had one from Poland. Nobody imports any of them. But we also make a beer called Chodkowski, which I went to Norway to learn how to make. And it is a smoky dark ale that is brewed with 100% smoke malt that's smoked over alder wood. And it's just it's an imperial dark ale that's 100% smoked malt, and it's just unreal, just crazy drinkable. It's like the end of the rainbow for smoked beer drinkers, basically.
Are you familiar with Switchback Brewing out of Vermont?
Yeah.
So we had Rob Cherry from but he was on with us, and they're one that he sent us this awesome kit with like a tasting card and everything where they did this one's 5% smoke, this one's 7% smoke, this one's X. And he mentioned that with him, it's not just the smoke. He only does that if it's a complementary flavor to what he's doing, which I know some they're like, let's just smoke it. Let's, do whatever.
Yeah.
But it gave me, as someone who has been a hater of smoked beers, like I like
smoke phobic, you might say.
Yeah, I like the hint of smoke, but if smoke is the focus, like the one, what's the real popular
Schlenkerla, yeah,
can't stand it. Not my thing
Love
at all.
it.
Just can't
Love
stand
it.
it.
What about
but I
the
got
Hellas?
a different appreciation for those. Yeah,
the Hellas. Have you tried the Hellas version?
I don't. The one I had,
I was thinking it's amber or something like that. You probably have.
Yeah, but it's interesting, Jan. You mentioned Stan Hieronymus and the Grodzitskis. The last time he was on the show, he brought us an IPA from that brewery in Poland that is known for the Grodzitsky, and he bought us a Grodzitsky from a brewery in Texas that is known for their IPA.
And I think he left his
and
cooler.
I forget it. And I think Stan's cooler.
I think it's still
Stan,
here.
we still owe you your cooler. It's still in the studio here. We've been promising that for years, but
I was excited. I thought that we might have had your Grodzitsky when Stan was here, but you think you were right.
Flipped it around.
It was out of Texas,
exactly.
I think.
Guys, we are out of time. Jan, thank you so much. Our Mutual Friend Brewery, we appreciate you chatting with us. If people want to keep up with what is going on at Our Mutual Friend, what is the best way for them to do that?
Yeah, check us out on Instagram, Facebook, or at our website, omfbeer.com.
Easy enough. Thanks, Jan. We appreciate it.
Thank you guys so much. This was awesome.
Absolutely. Well, that about wraps it up for this episode of the Beer Guys Radio Show. Join us next week as we talk We're unsure. We've got 2 things on the table.
We'll probably talk. Yeah.
Maybe we'll drink more beer.
Probably
and
drink
talk
beer.
about it.
Yeah.
For more craft beer info, follow us online. We are Beer Guys Radio on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great week, and don't forget to drink local. Cheers. Boom.
All righty.
Thanks, Jan.
Thanks.
That was good
Yeah,
times,
thank you
man.
guys.
Good
Yeah,
times.
sweet.
Tell you what, hang for just a second. I'm going to wrap up our live stream. Y'all, thanks for tuning in. We appreciate it. Thanks for hanging with us. We'll be back next week with something.
Something definitely.
Scheduling has been challenging lately.
It's been a little
It's
tough.
been tough to get. We've got some shows scheduled, but it's been back and forth cancellations, movements.
Yeah, I think
I don't know what's
GABF
going
being
on.
so close is interfering with some of the scheduling.
But we'll get it. One way or the
yeah.
other, we will drink beer and run our mouths. That is
Correct.
for sure. But have a good week, everyone, and we'll see you next week.